We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Another round of tech layoffs, a third outbreak of gun violence in California, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lupkin, and here's the news you need to know. Spotify Technologies announced that it would cut about 600 employees, roughly 6% of its 9,800-person workforce. The news, which followed a Bloomberg report that the streaming audio company was planning unspecified layoffs, added to a series of job cuts at some of the nation's leading technology companies. Google parent Alphabet, Amazon, and Facebook parent Meta platforms are among the tech giants that have announced major layoffs as the economy slows and they find themselves with too many workers after ramping up hiring early in the pandemic to handle surging demand for their services as Americans shifted to working, shopping, playing, and studying online. Federal authorities said on Monday they had charged the former head of FBI counterintelligence in New York, Charles McGonigal, with accepting $225,000 in secret cash payments while working for the FBI on sensitive cases. McGonigal, age 54, is also accused of illegally trying to help Russian billionaire Oleg Deripaska get removed from a U.S. sanctions list. McGonigal, who retired from the FBI in September 2018, was indicted in a Manhattan federal court on charges that include money laundering and violating U.S. sanctions. At the FBI, McGonigal had been assigned to investigate Deripaska, an ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. An FBI official said McGonigal betrayed his solemn oath to the United States in exchange for personal gain and at the expense of our national security. McGonigal was also in charge of investigating Donald Trump's alleged ties to Russia, which turned out to be the fictional Steele dossier. 7 people were killed on Monday in 2 related shootings in the Northern California community of Half Moon Bay. It was the state's 3rd mass killing in 8 days and came just 2 days after an attack at a dance hall left 11 people dead during Lunar New Year celebrations. In Monday's shootings, 4 victims were found dead and another injured with gunshot wounds at a farm. 3 others were killed about 3 miles away. The suspect, identified by law enforcement as 67-year-old Zhao Chun Li of Half Moon Bay, was arrested about 2 hours later after officers found him sitting inside his car at a police substation. A weapon was found in the vehicle. The motive for the shootings remains unclear. California lawmakers are pushing legislation that would impose a new tax on the state's wealthiest residents, even if they've already moved to another part of the country. Assemblyman Alex Lee, a progressive Democrat, last week introduced a bill in the California state legislature that would impose an extra annual 1.5% tax on those with worldwide net worth above $1 billion, starting as early as January 2024. The legislation is a modified version of a wealth tax approved in the California Assembly in 2020, which the Democrat-led state Senate declined to pass. The current version, just introduced, includes measures to allow California to impose wealth taxes on residents even years after they left the state and moved elsewhere. Exit taxes aren't new in California, but this bill also includes provisions to create contractual claims tied to the assets of wealthy taxpayers who doesn't have the cash to pay their annual wealth tax bill because most of their assets aren't easily turned into cash. This claim would require the taxpayer to make annual filings with California's Franchise Tax Board and eventually pay the wealth taxes owed, even if they've moved to another state. California was one of several blue states last week to unveil bills to impose new wealth taxes. The other states were Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, New York, and Washington. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.